Looking at 22. So look at what we're given. We're given that QS is a bisector and it bisects PQR. So QS, that ray, is cutting PQR in half. We have to prove that PQS, one of the smaller angles, is half the larger angle. Hopefully that makes sense. So for our first statement, we have what's given. QS, that ray, bisects angle PQR. That's given. So if that ray is bisecting that angle, we know it's cutting it in half. So the two smaller angles, PQS and SQR, those are congruent to each other by, for the second reason here, definition of angle bisector. So angle PQS is congruent to angle SQR, so the two smaller are congruent to each other. I didn't put my statements and reasons. Okay, so if we look at from step 2 to 3, suddenly we're changing symbols. It goes from congruence to equals. So if you're switching symbols from congruence to equals, that's by definition of congruence. For step 4, angle addition postulate. Whenever they ask you to do angle addition postulate, you're just looking at the picture and adding the two smaller angles. So two smaller angles should equal the larger angle. That's all the angle addition postulate says. And why would you need that? Well, if you look at what we're trying to prove, we have an equation here, so we need to create an equation somewhere. So the angle addition postulate, the two smaller angles, so one of the smaller angles is the measure of angle PQS plus the next smaller angle, the measure of angle SQR, is equal to the larger angle, the measure of angle PQR. So from here, they ask us to substitute something. So I'm actually going to write the final statement. We need to prove the measure of angle PQS is equal to 1/2 the measure of angle PQR. So looking at the left-hand side of my final statement, the angle that I have left here is PQS. So if I look at the left side right now of step 4, I need to get rid of, they're telling me to substitute here, get rid of one of these angles so that I only have the PQS left. So that means I need to get rid of this SQR. Looking at step 3, is there something I could substitute for SQR? Well, yeah, PQS is the same as SQR. So I'm actually going to swap out this SQR. So the measure of angle PQS plus, here we're substituting. Instead of SQR, we're plugging in PQS. The measure of angle PQS equals the measure of angle PQR. So we swap these out. Next, they tell us to combine like terms. So if I look at the left side, are both of these alike? Yeah, they're both angle PQS. So the measure of angle PQS plus the measure of angle PQS is just doubling the measure of angle PQS. So twice the measure of angle PQS is equal to the measure of angle PQR. So from step 6 to step 7, suddenly there's no 2 attached to the measure of angle PQS. How do you undo this 2? Think as if this were a variable, the measure of angle PQS. How do you undo a 2 attached to the variable? Well, you just divide. So this is division property. And remember, this 1/2 measure of angle PQR, if you're dividing by 2 on both sides, you can either put a big fraction bar over 2, or you could put the 1/2 in front. It means exactly the same thing.